Good morning everybody, welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA video. Today we're going to be discussing Unbound Finance. The ticker is UNB against USD. We're on the weekly time frame, keeping it macro. And this is a potential altcoin gem for this cycle, I believe. I think its market cap is about 1.2/1.3 million at the moment. It's got great partnerships and it's building a fantastic ecosystem. So again, do your own research. I am just the chart guy. This is all for educational and entertainment purposes only and is not financial advice. So let's dive into some content here. So I wanted to first get in this multi-year key resistance that Unbound was trying to break. So again, this isn't a current resistance line. This is something we have broken this year, which for me is a really good sign of confluence and one sort of checkbox that we can tick off to say, hey, we're potentially reversing the trend here. But let's dive in. So we can see that again, you started this downtrend back here in December of 2021. And we sort of came back down. We ran into these resistance points again back here in February and April of 2023. Got really rejected here and re-attempted to break out back in December of 2023. Came back to this year, February, and we've actually broken out. So again, just to confirm and get these points on so you can see this is where we started the resistance point. We had another resistance point here, another resistance point here. We had a fake out at this point. And this is where we actually broke out in February. So it was on the fifth point of contact on this descending trend line that we actually exploded out of this resistance. And this is what you want to see. I think we had some sort of compression back here. So sort of the start of January of this year, you can see Unbound really got compressed between this descending resistance and support here. And it was coiling up. It really led into some compression. And compression normally leads to expansion. And this is where you got the really volatile breakout to the upside. The volatility was amazing. It was great to see, and it's really nice because again, this is one tick box that we can look at and say, hey, Unbound sort of finished this multi-year downtrend and is looking for potential relief. But within this sort of breakout, we have also run into another key level of resistance, a multi-year key level of resistance, and this is a horizontal key, a horizontal range of resistance. So what you tend to see is that descending resistance. So this descending resistance, it is a strong resistance point. You can see we was under it for multi-years as well. But horizontal resistance is equally, if not stronger than descending. So this red area here is more of a brick wall to break through than this sort of descending resistance that we have done already. So it's no surprise to me that we've broken out of this descending resistance and again ran into this multi-year horizontal level of resistance for Unbound. And to get a price on the last high, we was roughly at 0.0038. So this is a key area moving forward that we need to break out of. This is the main obstacle in our way before we really start to see some price action and some discovery back up to these highs here that we've come down from, of which I'll get into some potential targets that I'm looking at later. But you can see again, as I said, this multi-year descending resistance, we coiled up, compression led to expansion, we broke out and we've ran into this key level of resistance for ourselves up here. So let me get these off for a second. I want to get this descending resistance off as well because there's something I wanted to show you in regards to a potential play that's forming out here. So whilst we was also let me get this line back on. Whilst we was under this descending resistance for Unbound, you can see that we also had another key level of resistance. I'm going to get that back off actually. We had another key level of resistance because we fell down here, okay, and we fell down to a low. We retraced back up to resistance again, this horizontal and descending resistance. This was a crossroads and it really got rejected. Now you can see it had some relief back into this area of support that it lost. So we had this low support, got rejected, lost that low, confirmed it as resistance, and then we got pushed down even further. Now at this point, we've bounced and we come back into this resistance line once more, coiled up beneath it and exploded. Okay, so at the same time, there was also a pattern here called another inverse head and shoulders, where you had a left shoulder, we had a head, and then you had this right shoulder and you broke out. Now the technical target of the breakout of this bottom structure is from the neckline to the head. Now if you see, when we broke out of the neckline of the head and shoulders, we met that target to a T. Okay, so this pattern underneath this level of previous support that was resistance indicated that we were forming some nice structure to really start pushing up to this key level of multi-year resistance. So that's how this play has worked out. And again, whilst doing that, we have tackled out of this descending resistance. Okay, so this bottom structure was an inverse head and shoulders pattern. We've come up, the right shoulder broke resistance, broke this multi-year downtrend of descending resistance, and we've ran into horizontal resistance. So many resistances, but it's just how the market works. You can see that this was an inverse head and shoulders. It's broken out, and that's how we've got to where we are. Now, on the grand scheme of things, if I keep this the way it is, I wanted to show you another inverse head and shoulders. So this key area of support / resistance is also the potential support range of the shoulders for a larger inverse head and shoulders that could occur here. So are we in an even bigger inverse head and shoulders? Have we got inverse head and shoulders in an inverse head and shoulders? It's a big potential. It's a big potential. And I think if we do tackle out of this key area of resistance, and all we're doing right now in reality is just accumulating some large range and just building up the base for Unbound to really start taking off. And again, just like this head and shoulders target was met up to this key resistance, if we measure the inverse head and shoulders on the macro scale of things, that we could potentially be in the shoulder forming here, then we've got a potential move from current price of around a 45, 46x. To me, it's a no-brainer. You have to remember at the same time that what goes down must go up. And when the inception of Unbound occurred, this was during a bear market phase. This wasn't just underperforming against everything else that was performing. It was underperforming with the whole market. And it hasn't had the time to relieve itself, and it hasn't had the bull market exposure. So a lot of people see a lot of fear in these projects. Again, do your own research, but this is normal price action. I would say relatively normal for bear market price action. And right now we're flipping the switch. We're forming this huge accumulative pattern under key multi-year resistance that we're looking to break out. We've broken the descending resistance. The next point of contact is this horizontal resistance. If we break it, the technical target is a 45x. Now, something else that might be a bit interesting is from this head low, this inverse head and shoulders back up to this high of the neckline that we're under as resistance, you can see that I'm pretty sure that this is the 2 fib. If I get the 2 fib on, yeah, you can see that we're just running shy of the 2 fib if we break this inverse head and shoulders pattern. So it is key to take out this resistance. We could see potential resistance on the way at the 1272 if we do break out, because again, come across to this level, you can see there was resistance points here in the past. So this, once we do tackle out resistance, could be a resistance point for a nice back test and then the explosion. This is what I'm looking for. Right now we're in this right shoulder. It's just whether or not this is the low of the right shoulder. It's just whether or not it is, because the left shoulder tends to have the same support level as the right. Again, it doesn't have to play out. So where this left shoulder came down for support, you then form the head and this smaller inverse head and shoulders as the head. You then broke out, ran back up into the neckline of this large inverse head and shoulders, and now you're looking to come back down potentially to where the neckline of the left shoulder was. So could we retrace that deep? Yes, we could. Now, for that to occur, what we would see, in my most likely opinion, would be a rejection at the 050 from this low that we've put in recently up to this high. So if we see Unbound start working its way up here and fail to break this level, then I would expect a deeper retracement and a sweep down to this left shoulder on the macro inverse head and shoulders that we've been looking at as support. And it would be a large A, B, C wave back down to this for then forming that right shoulder, and I think explosion would happen at this point. And this could be a large wave 1 we've just put in, an A, B, C wave 1 for a corrective A, B, C wave 2, and then you start getting really impulsive for your wave 3 where you tackle out this multi-year key resistance that we're under. So those are the potential scenarios. We have to break above the golden ratio here in order to see the retracement back to our key resistance range. So we have to tackle out 0.0021 in order to see any excitement from this low. Again, from this low to this high, this is our key resistance. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the content, guys, and it wasn't too confusing. I do think that potentially, as I said, this is a really impulsive wave 1. Potentially right now we could be in a wave 2 corrective phase, looking for then the final takeout, forming this large inverse head and shoulders, and looking to expand up to these higher targets from this inverse head and shoulders breakout. I hope you enjoyed the content today, guys. From Chartner TA, it's a mess. Take care. Peace out.